everybody. Today is Monday, January 14th, 2019. For those of you who are new to my channel, I am a second grade teacher in California. Welcome. It is the end of the day. I had no time to vlog all day, partly because mostly because it was raining, and that just kind of put me behind. We had a short lunch time, so I wasn't able to get on during lunch. I was running around trying to get things done during recess, so it's just been a packed day. Overall, it went pretty well. I was able to eventually get everything done in ELA. We ran behind in the morning just because it took us a little bit of time to get all the rules and expectations done, and then get AR done, and then we started the story, or we started doing ELA. We started with phonics and phonemic awareness. We're learning compound words today, and that took some time, and so we didn't actually finish the story in the morning. So we finished it when we came back from lunch, got done with the story. I really wanted to try and get the whole thing done today. So that put us behind for writing and social studies, but luckily RTI was canceled again because they're still testing students. So I was able to catch up and got everything done. So I was actually able to start social studies today. We were able to start our next research project in writing. So it went really well. We took our in math, we did our pre-test. So it's just, pre-test is really a review. It's not something that I test them on. It's something I walk them through so they see what the test questions tomorrow are going to look like. And I forgot how long this test is, and there is a lot of writing on this test. Oddly enough, there are no missing add-in problems, which I think we actually need to look at and discuss whether or not we want to put at least one on next year, because it is a skill that they need to know. They're given 2 or 3 add-ins, and then they're asked to solve the problem. But that'll make that part easier. But the hard part comes in, whereas it gives them some problems, then asks them to explain how they solved the problem. And we've gone over, you need to say, first I added the 10s, then I added the 1s, then I regrouped my however they did. But they're still sort of defaulting to, I used my fingers. I'm like, no, you added 50 and 20. You didn't have enough fingers to add 50 and 20 on your fingers. Let's really discuss how you solved it. So that took longer than I expected. We actually did that in 2 periods. So I don't even know if we're going to get the whole test done tomorrow. It's a long test. I think I'm going to cut out the last question. The last question asks them to create their own. It gives them a sum. Like, we had 46 marbles. So it tells them to write their own word problem that has a sum of 46 marbles. And they didn't understand what they were supposed to do. So we did that one together, but ideally we would have done it a few more times. I think last year we cut that question out, if I remember correctly. So I'm thinking I'm just going to cut it this year. It's the last question. It's 2 points, but it's just... I understand why we originally included it, but without the practice behind it, and because we are so rushed, I just don't feel like I have enough time. So yeah, so we did that. We did our research project. We're starting research on dolphins. I have a National Geographic book on dolphins, which is very thorough. I really liked it a lot. And the kids were very excited about reading about dolphins. And so we started writing our research notes on them. And then we switched over to social studies, where we're learning about maps and globes and how to read maps. And I actually have a book called Maps and Globes. So we started reading that, and I got through where they are switching over from maps to globes. And then I'm going to read them the rest the other day. I actually, just because we're almost at the halfway point in the trimester, I don't know how much more social studies we're going to be able to do, unfortunately, before we have to switch over to science, because the next science is really intensive and it takes a while. So, and I actually, thinking about it, I better go online and make sure they haven't changed what the science lessons are like they did with the last one. So I'm just going to quickly go do my what went well today, and then I'm going to sign off for the day. So my what went well, I got through the story and all the ELA components. More students are using the cubed strategies, so I had to remind them at the beginning that they need to circle, underline, box, evaluate, and then draw their picture. But once I reminded them, they started doing it on their own. Unfortunately, a couple of times that's all they did. Like, they cubed and then they kicked back and started talking. But yeah, so we're one more step closer. And then I was able to start social studies, which was exciting because I do enjoy doing social studies when it's something that interests me and interests the kids. So that was my 3 good things. That was my day in a nutshell. I will pick this up again tomorrow. See you then. Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, January 15th. It's first recess right now. This is just a real quick update before I have to go pick up the kids. It's been raining all morning, so the kids are really wired. I'm assuming this is a universal problem because I've heard lots of teachers talk about it, but the minute it starts raining or the minute it starts raining hard, all of a sudden everybody has to go to the bathroom. So I'm thinking of instituting a system in my class because I have so many kids using the bathroom during class. Anyway, where I'm going to give them 5 tickets, 1 for each day of the week, and then every time they go to the bathroom they have to give me a ticket, and at the end of the week I'm going to raffle something off with the tickets that they have left. I don't remember who I saw originally do this, but it's getting to be an issue with the same kids over and over having to go to the bathroom and not using their recess time. And because it's raining, it's extra. Everybody has to go. So far this morning, we've had a really good morning. We were doing compound words for phonics this morning, and usually what I do when I have them write it on their whiteboards is I tell them how many letters are in the word, and then I give them the word and they're supposed to sound it out and write it. But today we did it differently. We did use the Elkonin boxes, but because we're doing compound words, we have more letters and sounds in the book, in the word, than we have Elkonin boxes, so we did have to draw them on their whiteboard. So we just went over, okay, if it's raindrop, first we're going to sound out rain. Let's count how many sounds are in rain. Okay, there are 3 sounds, so we need 3 boxes. We looked at the spelling patterns for the long A sound. Most of them knew that it was AI, and both the A and the I go in the one box, and then we did drop. So it was really exciting. Some of my students who struggle with spelling were really getting this method, and their little faces were just lighting up, and it was so great to see, and it was a really good lesson. And then we moved on to, we reread the story. We discussed cause and effect, which I didn't know the standard well enough, and it's not just straight up cause and effect, it's how do the characters react to events in the story. So that's what, once I realized that that's what the standard was, we focused on that, and we didn't quite finish the lesson, so we're going to finish it tomorrow before we move on to comprehension questions. But it went really well. So we're going to go do ELD, where we're doing vocabulary. Then we're not taking our math test. We're going to the library first, and then after library is lunch, and then we'll take our math test, which I sort of anticipate is going to take the rest of the day, to be perfectly honest. It's a long test. There's a lot of writing. It's a lot of word problems. It's very involved. So RTI is canceled again today because they're still testing and one of the teachers is out anyway, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, I'm gonna go pick up the kids and I'll catch up with you later today. Bye. Hey everybody, it's the end of the day. I just wanted to do a really quick check-in. The rest of the day went okay. It was a little frustrating. The students were very wild and just loopy because of the rain. The math test was very hard, but the good news is I had 19 students pass the test out of 25, so I only had 6 students who didn't pass the test, and that's a really easy number to pull and review. And a couple of them I really think that if I just pull and have them take the test one-on-one with me so they really understand what they need to do, they'll do a lot better. So that made me feel a little better, but overall I'm feeling real icky right now. I mean I feel physically fine, but I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not in the greatest mood right now. I should be in a better mood because I just finished correcting the papers, and I really am thrilled that they did so well, because word problems are very hard, and to get that many students who understood what they needed to add and how to do it and to draw their pictures and to show their strategies, I just think that's really great. But yeah, so my 3 things that went well was I had a good passing rate, or a great passing rate for my math test. I had a really good phonics lesson this morning, and I got my new student AR tested, or STAR tested, so I got his reading level, and I got that before library, and he was able to get his books, so he's set up for that. And yeah, so hopefully tomorrow I'm feeling a little better and more motivated, and like I'm doing a better job, because just today I'm not. But tomorrow's another day, fresh, new, with no mistakes, as Anne of Green Gables said. So anyway, I'm gonna sign off. I've got a staff meeting in a few minutes, and I will catch up with you again tomorrow. Hey everybody, today is Wednesday, January 16th. It is lunchtime. The day has been going pretty smoothly in ELA. We started out the day. We finished up cause and effect from yesterday, and then we moved on to comprehension questions, and they did a really good job. It's a story. The story is Officer Buckle and Gloria by Peggy Rathman, and it's a really high engagement story, and they really enjoyed looking at the pictures and looking at the clues and coming up with their answers. So that was very successful. In ELD, I did introduce the Elkonin boxes, so we spent about 10 minutes just going over how to do the boxes. I have 2 students in the class right now who don't speak any English, so they were able to participate. It was at their level. They were able to say the words, count the sounds, do that, and then we moved from phonemic awareness into phonics, where we were actually writing down the sounds. So they really seemed to enjoy it. They were very engaged. So we're going to do it again on Friday, and then next week as well. I don't know if we're going to do it next week. I don't know if I'm going to do this every single time, or if I'm going to go back and forth and between this and reading engagement strategies, close reading. So we'll see. And then in math, we started subtraction. So we did a lesson on breaking, we did 2-digit numbers minus 1-digit number, and then we broke the 2nd-digit number up, and then used a number line to subtract. And I have never taught this lesson before like this. I've always just had them use the number line to count back the whole thing. But I decided that it's a good strategy, so I wanted to give it a try. And it worked really well. Most of them understood. I told them, if you can, I don't know how well you can see this. I told them, like, if we had 75 minus 7, we were going to look that 75 had 5 ones in it. So we needed to break 7 into 5 plus some other number. And what do we add to 5 to get 7? And they were able to tell me that it was 2. And I said, okay, so now we're going to go to our number line, and we're going to start on 75, and we're going to jump back 5. Now this they weren't quite able to do. They jumped back to 5 ones, most of them, but I showed them jumping back 5 and how we were going to land on 70. And then from there we only need to jump back 2 more ones. And I always just thought it was going to be too complicated to get them to understand how to break the numbers apart and to do all the jumping back, and I have to say I was wrong. They did really well. Even my students who struggle really started getting that we're looking at the ones, we need to break the number up, and then we're jumping back these 2 numbers. And it helped them even help them going back, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now I'm on 70. And how many more do we need to jump back? 2, 1, 2. Breaking it up helps them land where they needed to be. The number they needed to go on, where I've noticed if I just had them do 75 minus 7, a lot of the students in the past have gotten lost, because when they go back from 75, they don't want to count, they count starting from 75, where this, I don't know, they just got it that they needed to jump first. So that was really good. Tomorrow it's a similar lesson, only the second number is going to be 2 digits, so we're going to be breaking it into 10s and 1s, I believe. So I was really heartened by that. And the other great thing is today is it hasn't been raining. It's cold and windy, but the students have been able to get outside and play, which has been helping their energy level because they are just all pent up and full of a lot of energy, and sitting in the multi watching movies the past 2 days has not helped that at all. So today is our short day. We're going to come back, we're going to learn more about abbreviations, and then we're going to do some writing. We are writing about dolphins, and we are almost done with our graphic organizer, and we're going to move on to writing in our little booklets, the actual thing. And today I'm switching it up. Usually what I do for this, because we're doing it together, is I have them tell me the sentence to write, I write it down, and then they copy it. I'm going to do something similar, but I'm going to try and incorporate some shared writing in it, where I'll have them tell me the sentence, and then whoever tells me that sentence is going to come up and write it on the paper, and then they'll copy it as well. I think we'll see how that works, because they might not write neatly, or maybe what we'll do is we'll write it together, they'll see how to do it, and then I'll have them take their graphic organizer and actually write it on their own. So we'll see how that, what I decide and how I see it working. But yeah, so it's been a smooth day. It's going really quickly, and I will let you go now, and I will catch up with you again after school. Bye. Hello everybody. It is now Thursday, January, what day is it? 17th. I didn't have a chance to catch up with you yesterday after school. After my collaboration meeting, it started pouring rain. Well, during the collaboration meeting, it started pouring rain. The lights were flickering, the internet kept going in and out, and so I just wanted to get home afterwards and try and get through that rain, just because I knew it was going to be a very long drive. So but yeah, so the rest of the day went really well yesterday. We did, for writing, we did shared writing, where we were researching dolphins, and then I would ask them to tell me, you know, we would go over what our facts said on our graphic organizer, and then I asked them to turn the fact into a sentence, and then they came up and they wrote the sentence. Whoever told me what the sentence was, they came up and wrote it. And then as we were doing it, we made little corrections, like people were writing capitals in the middle of sentences, so I was like, oh, well, we can't have that, and I would show them how to use editing marks to take those away, or not starting sentences with capitals, so we used editing marks to show how to put capitals in. A couple of things I did have to white out, like they were having they're making capital P's, or just not writing neatly. So I was like, no, let's write these right. So I whited it out and I had them redo that. But it was a good lesson. I really enjoyed watching them come up with the sentences and then work together to write it and then create this story together. So today we're going to finish doing that story, and then next week, or this research paper, and then next week what I'm going to have them do is take their graphic organizer, we're going to read through the story we wrote together, and then they're going to write their own. And then, yeah, so then today we learned about root words, which was really hard. Like I put the root greenest up there, or I put the word greenest, and we talked about how a root word is something that you add a prefix or suffix to, so it's a word. What's the root in greenest? And I had kids saying est. I said, okay, so est, or est, isn't a root. That's a suffix. What's the root? What's the word? Est. I had 4 students say est. I was very frustrated. I finally said, okay, if one more person says est, I'm going to scream, guys. I've told you already. est is the suffix. The suffix is not the root. The root is the word that we recognize in the word. And then finally somebody's like, oh, it's green. It's like, yes. So after that, they got it, and the lesson went really a lot more smoothly. And then we did first math. We were breaking up, we were subtracting numbers, 2-digit numbers from a 2-digit number, and they're all the teen numbers, so it was like 56 minus 18. And what they wanted them to do was first break up 18 into 10 and 8, and then break up 8 into 6 plus 2 to get them to a tens number. And we did it together twice, but when I asked them to do it independently, I could tell it was just too many steps. They weren't understanding it. So I was like, that's fine. We're going to break it up into 10. I want 10 and 1, and then we'll jump back 10, we'll jump back 1. The frustrating thing is when we did find 10 less than a number as a standard on its own, the students did a really good job finding 10 less or 10 more than a number. And I asked them to do it today, and they were sitting there not able to do that. So I hope it's just because we're learning a new skill, and as we continue working on it, they will remember, and the light bulb will go off, and they'll be like, oh, I can do this. I don't need to count 10 every time. But that was a little disappointing. So we're going to come back in. We're going to do some review for ELA, for grammar skills. I don't remember what we're reviewing. We'll continue doing our writing. Then after recess, I'm reading the book Maps and Globes to them. So we're going to finish Maps and Globes. And I believe RTI is canceled again today. So honestly, if it's not raining, I think I'm going to take them out to PE. But we'll see. I had like 6 kids absent yesterday, and they weren't able to do Class Dojo. So I think I'm going to catch those 6 kids up. I have a lot of absences. I'm thinking it's the flu, but it's really, one of the things we track at the school is best attendance, and we finally got the best attendance banner, and now we're going to lose it again because there's so many absences. So I hope the kids are all well. I'd rather them stay home if they're sick than come to school sick, but I like getting that best attendance banner. All right, so I'm going to let you go, and I don't know if I'm going to catch up with you after school, because after school I have to jet. I have an appointment, and I have to leave right away in order to get to the appointment on time, so I might just catch up with you tomorrow. Bye. Hello, everybody. Today is Friday, January 18th. I am very, very glad it's Friday. It's been a rough week with all the rain and all the rainy day schedule and having the kids inside. And then even yesterday, even though they got to go outside and play, they were still just a little wild. And my new student is also changing the climate of the room a little bit. He just has some quirks where it's like I'll ask him to take something out and he starts groaning and moaning, and I'm stopping and making a point to say, no, that's not respectful, that's not what we do. But because he's done it, a couple of the other kids have started doing it. So I'm just trying to put a stop to that and put the fires out, because I haven't had that problem all year. I've said do something, and the kids have just done it without making any fuss, and all of a sudden I have someone, oh, and then he has some inappropriate language issues where he just says things that he really shouldn't be saying at his age, and especially not be saying at school. And it's like, okay, let's go over what is okay to say at school, and what, even if you can say it at home, at school it's inappropriate school language, and we don't say it, that kind of stuff. So, but today's been going really well. It's been a heavy testing day. Unfortunately, we tested all 4 components of the story. So we did vocabulary, comprehension, grammar, and phonics. So I'm slowly going through those when I have a moment, just to check. They don't seem to have done as well in the story this week as they did last week, which is funny because this is a much more high engagement story, and it's, in my opinion, a lot easier. But I guess I just didn't hit comprehension hard enough. So I'll have to look over that for next year and see what I'm doing and what I could do better. Then we did a quiz in math on subtracting a 2-digit number, or 1-digit number from a 2-digit number, and then a teen number from a 2-digit number using number lines. And so I printed out a number line. Unfortunately, as you can see, it's very teeny tiny. I would have liked to have given them bigger spaces, but it was what it was. Most of them did very, very well. They didn't use the strategy of breaking apart the number, or if they did, they clearly didn't understand. Like if it's 58 minus 7, or not 7, 58 minus 9, that they were supposed to break 9 into 8 and 1, and then jump from 58 to 50 and then back 1 more. They were just breaking up 9 into 2 random numbers and then jumping. So I would have liked to spend more time. Ideally it would have been 2 days on the first skill, 2 days on the second skill, but as I've mentioned before, I'm a little behind in math, and I'm just trying to catch up to the rest of the grade and not get too much more behind. So we did that, but most of the kids did really, really well on the test. There's a couple that I sent back because they weren't counting on their number line correctly, and then I ended up having to pull like 3 kids and work with them individually to show them how to do the skill again, and then they understood it. So that worked really well. Now we're going to have a spelling test, then we're going to do typing skills, and then we're supposed to do after recess we're supposed to do either writing or social studies, but in reality what we're doing is we have Eagle Store at the school store at 2, so we have to get our money ready, and then I think I'm just going to do a read aloud or something until it's time to go to the Eagle Store, and after that we'll come in and we'll close up and we'll go home. So it's it's a lot of work today. It's a lot of stuff that I'm gonna have to take home and grade over the weekend, but it's been a really quick and easy day, so I am grateful for that, because as I said, I'm a little burned out right now and it's just been a long week. So I will catch up with you again after school. Bye. All right, and that is a wrap. We finished up the day. Everything went really smoothly. I had a few minutes, I had about 20 minutes after the last recess before we went to Eagle Store. So I made quick groups, I handed out STEM bins, and I told them to make a house. So they worked really well. They were very quiet while they were working together and discussing how they were going to build their house. I had one group for some reason decide to destroy their house before I could see it, but it's okay. It wasn't anything that was super structured. It was just a little time filler to get them working and thinking, and fill some time before it was time to go. So that was my week. I am very glad it's over. I am looking forward to next week. We've got some things coming up. There's math night on Thursday, which I'm a little trepidatious about, because originally all 3 of the second grade teachers were going to do it together, and now the other 2 have had a death in their family. They're related. They had a death in their family, and they're going to be absent that day, so I will be doing it all on my own. So that's a big change. This is the first time that I've done it on my own ever since being in this grade. I don't even think I did it when I was in 5th grade by myself. I think we did family math nights together when I was in 5th grade as well. So, but it's okay. I know what the routine is. I know what we're doing. It'll be fine. I'm just crossing my fingers that I get an interpreter, because it's a high Spanish population, and a lot of the parents that come don't speak English, and I don't speak Spanish. So that's my concern, but there's nothing I can do about it, so there's no reason to worry about it, which is something that I'm trying to learn, is not to worry about things that I have no control over and just sort of accept it and go with the flow. So yeah, so I am going to do a couple things around my room, and then I'm going to take off. So I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day.